Yo, what is going on, guys? It's your boy CJ Beasley here, back again. Today we have yet another battle video from the RWL. This week we are finally in the playoffs. We finished our season 8-3 with a plus 21 differential, so that's absolutely amazing. And just kind of where it seeded us, it put us at the number 2 seed of our division, which meant that we play Eon, coach of the Runaway Rangers yet again. If you don't remember last time when we battled him, we took a close 2-0 loss, I believe. That Protein Greninja was really just too much for my team to handle, so we'll definitely have to build around that. But otherwise, I feel like we do still have a decent matchup, and we're just going to try to fix things going into this. So, looking at his team, we got the Tapu Koko, Hawlucha, Delamise, Haxorus, Gligar, Gothorita, Protein Greninja, Mamoswine, Incineroar, Alomomola, and Mega Aggron. So, things that gave me trouble last time were the Delamise. Other things that gave us trouble were the Greninja, obviously. But besides that, I feel like we had a pretty good matchup last time. Last time, if I remember correctly, he brought the Koko, Hawlucha, Delamise, Protein Greninja, Mamoswine, and the Incineroar. And that's basically the 6 I expect to come, honestly, yet again. The only things I could really see coming besides those 6 are maybe the Mega Aggron or Haxorus, but I don't really see those coming necessarily, so that is pretty nice. So just hopping right into things, we have Deathstroke yet again, same as last time. Well, not the same set, but this time we have the Drain Punch, Zen Headbutt, Knockoff, Bulk Up, with the Justified, obviously, before we Mega Evolve, with 84 HP, max attack, 4 defense, 12 special defense, and 156 with the Jolly Nature. I don't remember if these EVs were the exact same. I built this team over a week ago, so and this is kind of coming out late, so I don't remember if this was exact same EVs as last time. I'll have to check on that, but this basically puts a dent in his team. The moveset's basically the same, except instead of Ice Punch, we now have Zen Headbutt, and instead of Sword Stance, we have Bulk Up, as I thought Bulk Up would be better since he brought the physical Greninja last time. And so I could kind of capitalize on him being physical Greninja yet again and going for the Bulk Ups, so I take less damage from those and give the recovery back from the Drain Punch. As well as a +1 Zen Headbutt always KOs a Koko. And now you might be asking me, why would you stay in on a Koko? Well, I'll tell you later. I'll bring it back up when we get to the Jolteon set. But for now, Zen Headbutt, Drain Punch, and Knockoff basically covers his entire team. So that's kind of what I wanted to go with on this Mega Gallade. Next up, we got Tapu Fini with the Kibia Berry, Misty Surge, obviously, with the Surf Moonblast, Nature's Madness, and Defog, with 252 HP, 236 defense with a Bold Nature, and 20 special attack. This is basically the same set as last time, except now we have the Kibia Berry instead of the leftovers. And what that allows us to do is be able to take a +1 Poison Jab. Basically allows us to take 2 +1 Poison Jabs from a Haxorus, because it goes for Poison Jab, it does 33.3% max, and then it will do 66.6% max on the next time he clicks it. So basically we're taking 2 Poison Jabs and being able to KO him with a Moonblast, or Nature's Madness, or whatever it might be, or Nature's Madness, I guess, into Moonblast. But besides that, it's basically the same. We went with a little bit more defensive instead of kind of a spread around set, just for that fact that you know, the wanting to be able to live 2 Poison Jabs from a Haxorus, so that is very nice. And it's also an Adam Haxorus that we can take it from too, which is super crazy, just how bulky Fini is. But either way, Surf, Moonblast, Nature's Madness, Defog, it basically put in all the work last time, so I expect it to put in work again this time, which is super nice. Super excited about it. But next up, we got Angel, the G.O.A.T with the Figgy Berry, Serene Grace, Iron Head, Heart Stamp, U-Turn, Thunder Wave with 244 HP, 12 attack, 10 defense, 4 special defense, and 148 speed with a Jolly Nature. This is the same exact set from last time, except we have U-Turn now instead of the Protect. So that is, I feel like it's going to be pretty helpful, just kind of pivot around a little bit more than we could last time, which is super crucial against his team, which is basically based around momentum. So if we can get momentum in our favor, that can be super, super nice. So, well, I guess his team's not really based around momentum, but it's kind of, he has a lot of fat walls, so and just stuff that like wants to hurt my team basically. So just being able to get momentum going my way is super nice. So Ironhead, Hard Stamp, U-Turn basically covers the entirety of his team. This is basically my Hawlucha check yet again. It can take a +2 adamant high jump kick always from Hawlucha, throw off a Thunder Wave, and if he is a Hawlucha that is creeping a Scarf Jolteon after a Thunder Wave, this Drochi will outspeed, which is super nice. Ironhead, obviously there just for the flinch chance, and Hard Stamp is obviously there to hit the Hawlucha super effectively, because with the +1 defense boost from the Ironhead, it is not breaking a substitute on Hawlucha, so I kind of need the Hard Stamp. Well, Ironhead isn't breaking it. But besides that, it's basically the same set as last time. Nothing more to say about that. Next up, this is our new bring. So we're actually bringing Thanos, the X-Cloud this time, with a weird set. So it's lefties with Scrappy, Boom Burst, Fire Blast, Substitute, and Workup with max HP, 156 special attack, and 100 speed with a modest nature. And you might be wondering, why is this the set you're bringing instead of like maybe a choice specs? It makes sense once you see the Drochi, but basically the Jolteon, but basically I'm gonna have Jolteon help X-Cloud sweep basically. So I'll hop to the Jolteon right now actually. Let's just hop to the Jolteon. So as you can see, we got Jolteon, the God of Thunder, with the leftovers, Volt Absorb, Thunderbolt, Hidden Power, Ground, Agility, and Baton Pass. So basically the idea around this team is my Jolteon being able to pass around the agility all over the board. It can pass it into the Tapu Fini, which will put in work, the Drochi, which can put in work, the X-Cloud, which is absolutely going to destroy his team, and the G.O.A.T, which will put in work once I can get Chip on the Tapu Koko, or I can get up to +1 with Bulk Up. But a +2 speed of any of those mons I just mentioned, or even the +2 speed Gliscor is really going to put in work against this team. He doesn't have a whole lot that wants to take Earthquake, so that's super nice. But this set, like I said, is basically a pass around the agilities, as well as being able to check the Tapu Kokos of the world, so that is super nice. So I can, like I said last time, if you watched the team builder last time, we faced him, that this Jolteon set can take two timid Life Orb boosted Dazzling Gleams from a Tapu Koko, so that's super nice. Thunderbolt plus Hidden Power Ground basically covers his whole team except for Gliscor, but I have checks to Gliscor, so I'm not too worried about that thing. I can always go into Tapu Fini on Gliscor and he can't really touch me. And especially if I can get an agility pass to it, it will really just hurt his team, so that is super nice. But besides that, it's basically the same one as last time, except instead of Hidden Power Ice, we have Hidden Power Ground just to hit the Tapu Koko a little bit harder, and the agility instead of the Wish just to pass around the speed, like I said. So that is super nice option to have for my team, and it's really based around that. But going back to the Thanos, so we have Boom Burst, Fire Blast, Substitute, and Workup. If I can get a Workup up plus a +2 from the agility, I basically run through his entire team with Boom Burst plus Fire Blast, and especially if I can keep the Substitute up, there's not really anything that's handling this thing. The only thing that really wants to handle it is maybe the Hawlucha, so if I can get that thing gone, or if I can get up a Substitute, that is perfect. And with this investment, it basically either two-shots everything at +1 or Oko's everything at +1. And then just basically pour the rest into HP because I didn't really have anything else I really want to calc bulk-wise, so I just poured the rest into the HP. So yeah, like I said, Boom Burst plus Fire Blast, basically running through his entire team. So that's kind of the idea with the agility set and the agility passing around. So. And finally, we have Dark Knight, the Gliscor, with Toxic Orb, Poison Heal, Earthquake, Knockoff, Roost, and Stealth Rocks, with 204 HP, 36 attack, 44 defense with an Impish Nature, 212 special defense, and 12 speed. So this is way different from last time. Last time, well, I guess not way different. Last time we were Choice Scarf with Earthquake, Knockoff, U-Turn, and Stealth Rocks, but now we are Toxic Orb with Earthquake, Knockoff, Roost, and Stealth Rocks. And a lot bulkier than we were last time. Last time we were basically there to catch the incoming Tapu Kokos off guard. But now we are basically we're basically there to check the Delmise, more or less. We can just knock off that thing, as it doesn't really have the best recovery. I mean, it has synthesis, but most of the time you won't see synthesis sets on a Delmise, so I definitely want this thing to be the primary check to it. Unfortunately, with Roost, it will make me grounded, and then the Delmise's power whips will be doing twice as much, which is unfortunate. And I thought about a curse set, but I really just couldn't fit it anywhere, so we're just gonna have to deal with that. So this is kind of like a sack to Delmise, but also just trying to chip it down as much as possible. Earthquake basically hits the entirety of his team. Knockoff is super nice, like against the Delmise, like I said. Roost is for longevity, and the Stealth Rocks are just super annoying against him. Hopefully I can get him up this time. I don't believe we did last time, but hopefully we can get him up this time and keep him around. So that's the idea of going into this team. It's basically the same team as last time, just with small modifications, just making it a little bit better, I feel. So we're gonna have to see how we handle this. But anyways, guys, if you're excited to see the playoffs, hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, all that fun stuff, and I will see you guys in the battle. Alright guys, so we're back. So looking at his team, he brought Tapu Koko, Greninja, Mamoswine, Hawlucha, Incineroar, and Mega Aggron. So basically the same 6 as last time, except he didn't bring the Delmise, which I'm absolutely okay with. That thing was definitely a threat, so kind of happy to not see that, honestly. In terms of lead matchups, the only thing that my Mega Glade has a bad lead chip, bad lead matchup against is the Tapu Koko, but last time I led the Gliscor, so I didn't think he'd want to lead the Tapu Koko, so I decided to lead the Mega Glade. Like I said, the only bad lead matchup was the Tapu Koko, but even if you led Tapu Koko, I could easily go out into my Jolteon, so that wasn't too big of a deal. So, good luck to my opponent. This is the playoffs, so hopefully we can pick up this W here, but we'll have to see. So, here I will lead the Mega Glade, like I said, as he does actually just end up leading the Tapu Koko. So, kind of unfortunate for me, but I can easily go on to my Jolteon, like I said, and take any hit he wants to go for. Even if he's 10 power ground, it's not doing too much to me. It's actually doing the same as Dazzling Gleam, so not afraid of that whatsoever. But here, like I said, I'm going out to Jolteon as he does just click the Dazzling Gleam, and we can kind of base off this damage that he's not any damage boosting item, and as we can see, he's not Life Orb, so that's super nice. And so here, I will just go for the free agility. Even if he wants to stay in, I can agility up on this thing and just kind of go from there. As he does go on to Mamoswine, and so here I get the agility up, and I can easily baton pass into whatever I want. Most likely the top of any, but here, like I don't know why, but I kind of half expected him to want to switch out. I don't know why, but I just kind of had that feeling. So I will just go for the baton pass either way, as he does end up switching out into the Lucha, which I thought was kind of weird that he was burning the Lucha's electric seed so early, but you know, I'm not going to complain about that whatsoever. As I do just go for the baton pass, like I said, and I will just go on to my Jirachi as it is my main Hawlucha check. And so at this point, I have to Thunder Wave this thing. There's not really much other, nothing else I could really do to this thing. I don't really want to mess with it, so I just go for the Thunder Wave as he does go on to his Incineroar, which I thought was perfect because I don't have Toxic this week, so getting this thing's status is really nice. And so now we have a paralyzed Incineroar in front of us, and we can freely go into U-turn, and we can U-turn out into our Gliscor. I have expected him to go for U-turn here, so I decided to go to Gliscor instead of the Tapu Koko just because of the fact that if he U-turns, he has less switch-ins to the Gliscor than he does the Tapu Koko, so I thought going into the Gliscor was a little bit better, as he does show Sword Stance. So here I can't really mess around with this thing too much. I can take one hit of whatever he wants to go for it, but I just really want to go for the damage instead of getting up my Stealth Rocks. I thought about going for Stealth Rocks, but I just went for the Earthquake, as he does just go back out into his Hawlucha. So at this point, he keeps burning setup, which I thought was really weird, but you know, I'm not going to really complain about it. And so here I will go back out into my my Jirachi, as he does just go for the Sword Stance. So nice Sword Stance play. But here I can freely go for Thunder Wave yet again. And he does show Baton Pass, so I thought it was really interesting that we were both Baton Pass sets and kind of Baton Pass strategies. But either way, I go for the Thunder Wave. I kind of expected him to go out into the Mamoswine, but he actually goes out into the Mega Aggron, which I'm not complaining about whatsoever. Because at this point, I can freely go out into my Gliscor, and even if he has the Ice Punch, I have other things that can handle it. So I'm not too worried about this thing, especially since it's paralyzed. So, but here he will Mega Evolve. I do go for the U-turn, just getting out of there, going into my Gliscor. And it does negligible damage, but you know, it's just a U-turn from an uninvested Jirachi, so what more can you expect? But here, I just go into my Gliscor, like I said, and he just goes for Rock Polish, so I'm like, okay, I can't really mess around with this thing. I would like to get on my Stealth Rocks at this point, but I don't really want to mess around. I want to get off as much damage as possible on this thing. So I will go for the Earthquake, as he does take about 25%, so we know it's not too bulky of a set. As he does go for another Rock Polish, but I'm not too afraid of this because even if he goes out into his Jolteon at this point, or excuse me, if I go into my Jolteon at this point, he can't, he doesn't outspeed me since he's paralyzed, so I'm not too worried about it. And I go for another Earthquake, brings him down to about 40-ish%. And here I'm just going to click Earthquake yet again, just trying to KO this thing, but he does break through the paralysis and gets off an Ice Punch, so that will OHKO me. But here, based off of his bulk that we've seen, I can easily go on to Jolteon, outspeed it, and KO it with a Thunderbolt. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I go for the Thunderbolt, and we do pick off this Mega Aggron, so 1-for-1 trade is not too bad, especially what kind of a threat Mega Aggron is to my team. So glad to get rid of that thing. But here he will go out into his Mamoswine yet again, and I know I have to go on to Tapu Fini. He most likely just goes for Earthquake, but I don't really have a check to that at this point. So I will just go on to my Tapu Fini, as he does show he is in fact, oh excuse me, jumping the gun a little bit. But we get the Misty Surge up, and he does show that he's clicking Earthquake, which is totally fine. I can take one more Earthquake after this. It does about 66 HP, so that's about 33%, just over 33%. As he does go for another Earthquake, and so here I actually go for the Nature's Madness. I should have gone for the Surf, and like Surf was definitely the right play, but I didn't want him going out into Greninja freely, so I decided to go for the Nature's Madness. Probably not my best play, but it does still take half to him, and it's unrecoverable damage, so I'm not too upset about that. As he does just go for another Earthquake, and it will take me out at this point. So there goes my Tapu Fini, not too upsetting. As I can go on to my Mega Gallade, I believe at this point. Yep, I can go on to my Mega Gallade, get a free Drain Punch, I want to say. Yeah, I believe I go for Drain Punch. So he does withdraw, he goes out into his Incineroar, and I go for the Drain Punch, I believe. I hope I do. As I will Mega Evolve and Drain Punch. As he does get the Intimidate off, but even with the Intimidate, I will be two-shotting this, even with the Drain Punch, as long as I click it here. Yeah, okay. So I click the Drain Punch. As we can see, it does just a absolute like ton to him, just because he is more of an offensive set, as we saw with the Sword Stance. So not too surprising, but we will be able to KO him with yet another Drain Punch. So super happy to get rid of this Incineroar. It was kind of annoying, just in general. So happy to get rid of it. And so here he goes out into his Hawlucha, and I half wanted to stay in, but I was kind of fearing him like outspeeding me and going for the acrobatics, so I just decided to go into my Jirachi, as he does just throw up a Baton Pass, which is really smart. Some free momentum for him, so really smart play, like I said. And he does just go onto his Tapu Koko. And so here, I didn't know exactly what he wanted to go for. I could take a Thunderbolt. I just want to get damage off on this thing, honestly, for the Jolteon. As he does just show he's Calm Mind. So, Calm Mind at this point is really scary. But I will just throw off an Iron Head. Just try to get off as much damage as possible. And it does about, this is about 35%, 40%. So, not upset about that damage. But at this point, I have to go into my Jolteon. Can't let him get up to +2 freely, so and I can take a +2 Dazzling Gleam at this point anyways, so he does just go for Calm Mind yet again, but like I said, I can go for Dazzling Gleam doesn't OHKO me at this point, so I can freely click an Agility and go from there. So he does just go for Dazzling Gleam at this point, as I will go for the Agility. I live on 7, but that was calced to live, and so I will pause it. Okay, so at this point, I'm gonna let the lefties run actually. Okay, so at this point, he has two plays, right? He either goes for Dazzling Gleam or he goes for Thunderbolt. Dazzling Gleam hits this, and basically it hits everything that's not Jirachi, and Thunderbolt hits everything except for my Jolteon. And at this point, since I threw up an agility, the baton pass is pretty obvious. So I expect him to think I'm gonna baton pass out, and baton pass literally hits everything on my team. And I'm just gonna stay in at this point, and as I do expect him to go for the Thunderbolt so I can get the voltage recovery. Now, why this isn't it's risky obviously, but it's not too risky. And the reason being is because this was the last turn of Electric Terrain. So even if I got this call wrong, I could go out into my my Jirachi, and I could live a +2 Thunderbolt, and you know, I mean, I don't know. It was like the game was basically riding on this call. Because if he went for Dazzling Gleam, I basically lost. Like, is what I'm trying to say. But if I baton passed out into my Jirachi and he went for Thunderbolt, I basically lost. So this was kind of a 50-50. It was really risky of a play. But I do go for the Hidden Power Ground. Just try to get up as much damage as we do see Shoka, so that's kind of what I was expecting, since we didn't see a damage boosting item. And he does in fact go for the Thunderbolt, so I made the right play, staying in. And at this point I will baton pass out into my Jirachi as the Electric Train will go down, so his Thunderbolts aren't doing nearly as much. So even if he wants to go for one of those, my Jirachi can live one. So that is absolutely fantastic. And so here he will just go for Dazzling Gleam, which is a smarter play on his part. Didn't want to really risk me staying in yet again. As I will just go onto my Jirachi, and here I just go for the Iron Head, just trying to get off as much damage on this Coco and see if I can flinch hacks it. But he does go on to his Lucha, just try and sack it at this point, I believe, because it does about 35%. Now I know a Hard Stamp at this point will KO it, so it's absolutely perfect. So like I said, Hard Stamp will KO it. And at this point, he has a Hawlucha, Greninja, and Mamoswine left, so the only thing he could really go on to is his Greninja. And so here I thought about going for Iron Head, just try to flinch hacks him, but I thought the Thunder Wave was more worthwhile, just because if I get this thing paralyzed, then my Mega Glade can come in freely. As he does go for the Dark Pulse, so he breaks through the paralysis, goes for the Dark Pulse, shows he's a special set, and I cannot live one of those, unfortunately. I could have lived it from full, but obviously I'm not at full. So he does show Life Orb as well. And so here I can freely go onto my Mega Glade. The only thing that he could hit me with is a Water Shuriken at this point, but I'm just going to Drain Punch all that recovery back. And so he does go for the Water Shuriken, but even a Drain Punch will KO it from this range. So I'm not too worried about that. And he actually only gets 2 hits, but like I said, it's not too big of a deal because even if he got max hits, I believe I recover all that damage back. So we actually get the crit anyways, but I don't think the crit mattered. I don't know. Didn't even notice I got a crit the first time. Huh. So here he goes out into his Tapu Koko because that's his best play. And so I'm gonna pause it here. Okay. So the plays I can make, right? I could either A, go for Zen Headbutt. If he goes for Dazzling Gleam, I Zen Headbutt, and then I can sack off. Well, okay. So if he goes for Dazzling Gleam, Calm Mind, or Thunderbolt, right? I can live any of those attacks and KO him with the Zen Headbutt. If he goes for Roost, my Zen Headbutt's doing more than he's like able to recover back. And at this point, I'm expecting him to have Roost. And even if he does, like I said, it's doing more than he can recover back. And so even if I take the damage on my Mega Glade, he goes into Mamoswine at this point, because if he goes for Dazzling Gleam, I live the hit, I go for Zen Headbutt, KO this Tapu Koko, and then he has to go on to Mamoswine. I either sack this or I probably sack this, just in case if he's like a subset. I don't want to give him a free substitute. So I sack this, go for Drain Punch, sack it if he's a Choice Scarf set, or I win if he's a not a Choice Scarf set, or even if he is, I sack this thing, go on to my full HP X-Cloud, and win the game from there, right? So basically, I click Zen Headbutt 100% of the time here, and I could go out, you could say I could go on to my Tapu Koko, or excuse me, my Jolteon at this point, but if he goes for Calm Mind, I basically lose. So I can't really go out into Jolteon, because if he, like I said, if he clicks Calm Mind, I lose, so I don't really want to risk that. So basically, the game plan is to click Zen Headbutt and win the game from there. And so here, he goes for the Roost, nothing too unexpected. I go for the Zen Headbutt, basically, like I said, it's going to be doing about 75%, and I miss. Which is devastating, because here he goes for a Dazzling Gleam. I will live one, like I said, and I'll go for the Zen Headbutt, which is doing about 75%. I do land this one, and does about 75%, 65%, I don't know, somewhere around there. And so here I'm just going to go out into my Jolteon, praying he just goes for the Dazzling Gleam. Just kind of trying to sack it either way. And so at this point, missing the Zen Headbutt basically clinches the game for him if he's Scarfed Mamoswine. So I'm just trying to play this as if he isn't Scarfed Mamoswine. So here, I'm just gonna go out into Thanos, KO this Jolteon, KO this Tapu Koko with the Boom Burst, and at this point, I'm basically playing for him not to be Choice Scarred Mamoswine in the back. If I would have landed that Zen Headbutt, it would have clinched the game 100%. But at this point, I'm just praying that he's not Choice Scarred. So here, he has to go into Mamoswine, obviously, since that's the only thing he has left. And I will click Boom Burst, and he does outspeed, which is not too surprising, so I can't really tell off that if he's Choice Scarfed or not. It's basically just going to come down to this last turn. And so I will go out into my Mega Gallade at this point. If I outspeed, I win the game. If he outspeeds, he wins the game. Nothing really more I can do about that. I live an Ice Shard 100% from this range. And we do see he outspeeds, so he had Choice Scarred Mamoswine, so missing that Zen Headbutt absolutely mattered. I 100% won the game if I didn't miss that Zen Headbutt, but unfortunately we did, so good game to my opponent. I was super salty after this, but you know, like, honestly, it was a really good battle, so I'm not too upset about it. Definitely wish we could have pulled out the W and kept going in the playoffs, but like I said, wasn't too salty about it, so good game to my opponent, Eon. Definitely a great battler. Really happy we were able to battle him yet again. But that will be it for my season of the RWL. Super unfortunate we couldn't make it any further in the playoffs, but you know, it is what it is. So anyways, guys, I'm gonna head out. Devastating loss, but you know, the way you can make me feel better, hitting the like button, subscribing, you guys, and you leave a comment down below how sorry you feel for me, or whatever you want to say, so, or how bad I am and how much that Zen Headbutt sucked, so whatever you want to say. But either way, guys, I'm gonna head out, and I shall catch you guys next time. Peace.